Next, click on the Budgeting tab. In the Step 1 panel in the upper left corner under Input, move the slider bar arrow to select January 2012 as the base month from which to create a budget projection for February 2012. Next, go to the Step 2 panel and under the slider bar, enter a lower and upper target limit for net ordinary income in the left and right box respectively. For example, enter negative 20,000 in the left box and positive 20,000 in the right box. Move the slider arrow to any number in the range and note that the selected target number is displayed in red at the right end of the slider bar. Alternatively, enter a precise target number in the right-hand box. For example, enter 11,000 in the box, single-click, and then move the slider arrow to the right end of the bar. Next, go to the Step 3 panel. Revenue accounts are listed first in the panel, followed by empty slots for listing additional revenue accounts. Scroll down to view expense accounts, which are always separated from the preceding revenue accounts by at least one empty slot. Before February projections are made, note in the Step 3 panel that under the QuickBooks and What If columns for each account, the same number is displayed, and it differs from the actual month-end number shown under the January 2012 column. With this set of starting account numbers, note in the Accounts Total panel under the gauge that under the Revenue Accounts Total heading, the blue QuickBooks numbers and the red What If budgeted numbers are identical. Similarly, under the Cost and Expense Accounts Total heading, note that the blue QuickBooks and red What If numbers are also identical. In this Output panel, subtracting the starting number for the What If Costs and Expense Accounts Total from the starting number for the What If Revenue Accounts Total gives 10,090. This number is the net ordinary income before any account projections are made and is displayed in the box under the Net Ordinary Income gauge. Note also that the needle of the Net Ordinary Income gauge under Output points into the yellow zone, indicating that the number in the box under the gauge is slightly less than the target number, 11,000, which is set in Step 2. Next, What If budget numbers for the accounts shown in the Step 3 panel are entered. Begin by clicking on and highlighting Construction Income, and note that the account name appears above the slider bar in the Step 4 panel. The base January number for the selected account is displayed at the right end of the slider bar. Next, enter lower and upper account limits in the left and right boxes under the slider bar. For this example, enter minus 50,000 in the left box and positive 100,000 in the right box. Move the slider bar arrow to different numbers in the range and note that any number selected is displayed in red at the right end of the slider bar. Note the impact of different positions of the slider arrow on the net ordinary income gauge as shown by a change in the number displayed in the box under the gauge and by the color of the zone pointed to by the gauge needle. In the Step 4 panel below the right-hand box under the slider bar is another box where the percent change from the base January number is displayed for the What If projection of the selected account. To enter a precise number for a February account projection, double-click in the right-hand box under the slider bar in the Step 4 panel and enter a February What If number. For example, for the Construction Income account, enter 40,000 and then single-click. Move the slider bar arrow to the right end of the bar and observe that 40,000 is displayed in red text at the right end of the bar. Next, for the expense accounts listed in the Step 3 panel, enter a 10% decrease for each account that has a non-zero January number. This set of what-if projections results in a projected February net ordinary income of $16,337, as displayed in the output gauge. Note that the gauge needle is in the green zone, indicating that the projected February net ordinary income is greater than the target number, 11,000, set for February in the Step 2 panel. Next, repeat this exercise for a 20% increase for each panel 3 expense account that has a non-zero January number. Note that this second set of what-if numbers for the listed accounts results in a projected February net ordinary income of $9,989, as shown in the box beneath the gauge. Note also that the gauge needle is in the yellow zone, indicating that this February projection is slightly less than the target number of 11,000. To display and print a budget report, click on Show Report at the upper right corner. In the upper left corner of the projected budget field is a panel displaying total income, total expense, and net ordinary income for actual January 2012 account totals versus the February QuickBooks budget account totals and the What If February budget account totals, which are shown in red. Clicking on the Revenue Accounts tab or the Cost and Expense Accounts tab on the top right brings up the corresponding revenue or expense bar chart beneath the tabs. Clicking on either tab also brings up a panel on the left bottom that lists the corresponding revenue accounts or expense accounts. The actual January number, the QuickBooks February budget number, and the What If February budget number appear after each account. The blue bars of the chart represent end of January actual numbers, and the red bar represents the February What If budget numbers. The month, year, account name, and dollar amount is displayed by moving the cursor onto any bar. A copy of the report may be printed. Return to the main budgeting page by clicking on Hide Report. To view a larger expanded bar chart of the budget results, click on the Show Chart button. View revenue or expense bar charts by clicking on the buttons. As before, the blue bars of the bar chart represent actual end of January account numbers, and the red bars represent the February What If budget numbers. The month, year, account name, and dollar amount is displayed by moving the cursor onto any bar.